And today I was reading a bunch of stuff on. So Deflategate's gone. That story deflated.
Yeah, and he may get nothing.
I told you that, Billy. I told you, Billy, that they want big time for the press.
Yeah.
And then you have a lot of wiggle room when you're negotiating in the appeal.
I can leave it so.
Right?
That's right. And we talked about Goodell, as we call him, and he did it for effect, I guess. I don't know.
Billy, you're a very bright guy. You understand things. You had to send a message. Threw the book at him.
Yeah.
Now, the beauty about throwing the book at somebody in the NFL or in hockey is there's a union.
Yeah.
They're the Shield. They're the Avengers. And you know, I believe he's not going to get the $1 million fine. I think he'll get a game. Just so they can save face. What do you think,
You know
Billy?
what? I hope that's what happens, because I've had enough of Roger Goodell.
But he's made money. He's a businessman who's done very well. I don't think, though, I don't think that Tom Brady will survive with his fans. I really, you know, when baseball, I don't think baseball ever survived the strike, ever. Do you think baseball ever came back the way it used to be after the strike, Billy?
Well, if you're measuring it economically, it sure has. It's a raging success.
Oh, that's because the ticket prices went up and stuff. But the attendance apparently, I read this 2 weeks ago, Billy. It's not the same as it used to be.
No, I'm not surprised.
But that's what I read, and I could, that's one man's thing. But I don't think Mr. Brady is going to survive. Plus, what is he, 37, 38? 37. I mean, who gives a shit, right? He's a very rich man, right?
Yeah.
So who cares?
Very wealthy, and he's got a lovely family, and
yeah, and you know what?
one of the game's big.
I like him, and I really don't blame him. Everybody does it, and it is what it is. And he got caught, and it's a very common practice. Everything I've read on social media from different blogs and from different sports writers, that it is a very common practice.
Yeah, I'm of that opinion too, Frank, because that's what I read. And I think that's what most people are saying without embarrassing Goodell. And this guy's got to go. He's made too many mistakes.
But why would he go? Billy, if you're a franchisee and the head of the franchise, which is Mr. Goodell, is making money, why would you get rid of him?
Well, I would, because if in fact he's made mistakes in judgment, like it appears he has, I would say it's time for you.
But the owners love him. They love him. They totally adore him, and he's the brainchild of the Super Bowl. If you take a look at, with all the shit that the NFL went through this year, all the negative press, and it was, thank God for the NFL, or the sports writers would have had nothing to write about. And it was front page news in all the sports columns and in the sports sections in all the big newspapers, and it sold newspapers. So they need shit like this. They were unscathed in the Super Bowl. You need to tell me, Billy, was there one issue in the Super Bowl that changed the attendance, changed the level of frenzy of the advertisers paying $1 million, $2 million for a 30-second spot? And the answer is no.
No.
And was this not one of the best Super Bowls in the history?
Yeah.
Ironically?
Yeah. Ironically, and that's why it was even more disturbing to see how he went after that guy who made the Super Bowl one of the most exciting and was the top player in the game.
But he had to, Billy. He had to, because...
Frank, the one thing he didn't do, and this is retrospective analysis, I know, but he knew about this in the championship game in the Eastern Conference, and he knew about this way before that. Why would he not have gone to one of the best teams in the league and their quarterback and said, look, he didn't have to do it. He could have sent one of his minions. Look, I know you're playing with the balls, and I'm gonna nail you. And if it continues in the Super Bowl, you're really going to get it. And that was all he had to do. And if they challenged him after that, then they deserved what they got.